Hello everyone, Vanguard of Valor here, and welcome back to another episode of Banished here in the town of Xanadu. It is summer of our 9th year. We've got a pretty hefty population going up here. We are going a bit low on food again. We've got fairly happy citizens, fairly healthy citizens, a good amount of herbs and tools, clothes, and firewood for now. But our main issue is getting our stone and wood reserves up high enough that we can try and build the major city works that we want. Specifically, we're trying to build ourselves a church and a town hall somewhere over in this part of town, but for now we're going to have to make do without them. One thing that we do want to try this episode is to try and manage our resource gathering a little bit better and see how that goes. And we want to also try and set up something we've been avoiding up until now, which is fishing docks. Now, the reason I haven't been building fishing docks up until now is because, as far as I can tell, fishing docks are fairly inefficient in most cities. If you go and check out what your gatherer's hut produces, and we take a look, they normally produce about 600 of each kind of resource in a season. Now, that's pretty good, especially when you consider that a fishing dock normally produces about 700 fish in a season. Similar to the hunting cabin, it produces a similar amount of food, except it doesn't give you anything like leather, which you can use for other purposes. So really, I find it to not be that useful. We're going to give it a try, though, here, because I have a theory about how the fishing dock might work. And that is that the fishing dock is normally limited somewhat in the amount of food it can produce, because so much of its area is blocked by the ground. Like, if you were to build a fishing dock here, only that tiny space is within its circle. But we have access to a lake here, which is a lot of water in one place. And I have a feeling that if we build the fishing docks in certain locations, like I think here is a good one, exactly, right there, we might be able to get very high yield, because look how much more of that area is now filled with water. So we're going to experiment. We're going to try building a fishing dock right here on the water. It's going to take us a bit more wood to actually be able to build it, but I'm interested in seeing, with a little experiment here, if this actually produces significantly better yield from our fishing docks because it has more water around it, or if it's just you get that many fish from that many fishermen. So we're going to experiment with it and see what happens. Now, we've got a lot of people doing work here, so we're going to let them do what they want. And hopefully it'll work out for us. Also, this little settlement here of 20 buildings is the biggest we're going to let any of our single living areas grow to. We don't want to have too many homes close together, otherwise they can easily be destroyed by fires and whatnot. So we're probably going to build another residential area over here, or over, probably over there. Because that way we can connect to it through the mountain this way, as well as through the pathway this way, so people can get around wherever they need to go. So that'll probably work out pretty well for us. We're still on 5 times speed, which is fair enough. Now, some people were mentioning to me earlier that they thought that going at full speed was a bad thing, because we lose a lot of efficiency that way, and they're absolutely right. Playing at high speed is definitely not the most efficient way to do this game, as your workers will be doing a lot of different things at the same time, and it kind of slows down how actually effective they are at accomplishing any given task. But I've chosen to speed up the game just to make it a little bit more interesting for the viewers, as things will happen more quickly, even if actually building things happens at about the same rate. But yeah, so we're going to get to work here. We're going to start clearing out some more wood, because we're going to need some to actually produce this fisherman's hut, and we want to be able to really pick up the pace with our stone and whatnot storage, so we'll be ready for the upcoming winters. So we're going to make sure that we are clearing out a good amount of trees. I always do that. It's this tree icon I need. We'll make sure that these are all set to be harvested. If we can set all those trees to be cut down, right up in that area, there we go. We can increase the priority on that task, and we'll get a lot more wood coming in. There's a lot of these trees that have been set to come down. We just need to make sure they're actually doing that. Increase the priority in all these close-up trees. There we go. And we should be able to get them pretty effectively. Now, like I mentioned, there's a lot of stuff we need to get going on here, and most of it is all related to needing more resources. The problem is, since we need to keep dealing with things like firewood, we're using up a lot of our wood before we can really accumulate more. So what we really need to do is be able to get some people out of food professions and into gathering professions, but as it happens, we're running low on food now. So we're going to be putting more people back into things like gatherers' jobs to make sure we can actually get that food, and make sure we don't wind up dead. We've reached our cap number of students, which is interesting as well, and that means we're going to need to build another school, because the more students we can have actively learning, the better, And even if it does mean we have to build an extra school, that's fine as long as we can get everyone educated, because people do produce better once they have had an education. So we place another school in right beside the previous one. There we go. We're low on logs, but that's to be expected. And it's going to take a lot more to build this schoolhouse. It's fine that this schoolhouse is full, because hopefully we'll be able to build another one in time to get those kids some learning. Now, if we check in this area, we can cut down a couple of these trees, but we probably shouldn't go overboard, as this is an area we're getting a lot of resources from because we have so many trees around them. We're going to prioritize just getting more wood for now, though, and hopefully everything will work out just fine. Over here, people should have started deforesting already, which is good. Now, these little teeny-weeny plants, we don't need to really care much about clearing them out, and I might cancel the removal jobs on them to make sure that people don't bother wasting time grabbing these herbs, because we have herbalists who are getting us a fantastically large number of pieces of medicine over time, so that's really not a concern for us right now, whereas keeping ourselves with a decent stockpile of wood, stone, that is a pretty big deal. We should have plenty now to actually finish our fishing dock, though, and we should also have plenty to finish our school with once we eventually get that stuff underway. It is a little bit unfortunate that we are spending some time here without students in school. These, oh, they're children. Cool. Close. Nope, close. There we go. So, that'll be good. We have a little bit of time to burn, though, so like I said, we're going to speed it up to 5 times speed, let ourselves gather some wood. Not too concerned about actually getting our building projects done right now. What I really want them to do is gather those resources, because without wood, we're going to be hard-pressed to really do anything else at this point. As we gradually gather more, we'll be better off. And our food situation is still fairly stable, and there we go, Tamarin the Gatherer has died of old age. Unfortunately, our cemetery wasn't finished yet, so we didn't get buried. But we're starting to get to the point where people are going to start dying of old age, which is a concerning stage in our city's development. If it gets there for too long, we're going to have a hard time getting people to actually maintain the jobs we need. We're already down to only 5 laborers left over. We need 6 builders to actually accomplish our tasks as desired. So, things are a little bit hairy right now. We are still losing some food as it gets into winter time, so we could be in trouble here. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, we'll let people keep gathering wood for a little while longer, and then we'll move on from there. It might take us a little while to get everything we need, which is a problem sometimes happens in this game. We do need a lot of resources, and it's going to take us a while to get them all. We've also hit the cap on our woodcutters, which is good. We're going to stop them from producing any more until we actually hit winter time. We could raise that cap and hope that they can just that'll be enough overall, but I like to let ourselves accumulate a bit of wood. The main problem with boosting the cap here is that it means that they will constantly use up all of your wood, making more firewood. And if we don't necessarily need that much firewood at any given time, it might not actually be very beneficial to us. People are still building these things, though, which is good, and we do still have people bringing us in resources, which is also good. So we're going to let them do that for a little bit longer, and hopefully we'll be able to make some progress here. I'm going to boost up the speed here while people gather in more resources. Resources are our primary concern right now, so I'm okay with burning some time here whilst we gather them. There we go. We're getting a little bit low on food, though, like I mentioned, so you're going to want to try and turn that around quickly. I think we're going to prioritize building this fishing dock so we can get that extra source of food up so we can start doing our experimentation on it. So I will prioritize that up a little bit higher. We have a decent number of resources now, although our firewood stockpiles plummeted. Lots of people must have gone and got new ones for their homes. I'm going to quickly increase the priority there, and we're going to let people do that, and we'll keep going from there again. Back up to 5 times speed. Yeah, they burned through a lot of firewood all of a sudden. There's a lot of homes decided they needed some more. Our food is getting pretty darn low, though, so we're going to need to deal with that in a hurry. Hopefully we can build this fishing lodge quickly, and then we'll be able to use that to give ourselves a little bit of a supplement. Since it looks like we're pretty close to stable on our food production, we just have a little bit less than we ideally need. We have a couple more laborers who have grown up, so that's good. We'll be able to use them to help build things quicker and do more other things quicker. As people start dying, those children growing up is very important. And it is getting cold again, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll be able to deal with that as well. As the trees keep coming down, that'll be great, but we do need to make sure that these actual resource buildings get finished. We have a couple logs coming in here, though, so that should be fine. We shouldn't take too much time now before it actually gets completed. Our woodcutters are frantically trying to keep up with the massive demand. Really, though, trees are just hard for us to keep our hands on in this game. Our cemetery is almost completed as far as stone is concerned, and our schoolhouse really has no progress on it. But that's fine, since we're already down from the maximum number. It'll be very uncommon in the future that we'll actually have more than that, so I'm not sure if we really need to even complete the schoolhouse. I might just remove it for now. Odds of us being able to, odds of us not being able to keep up with our demand is pretty slim. So let's just clear this out for now. Don't need that there. We'll add that later. Once our population starts to boom a bit more, we'll need more facilities for the children, but for now we should be fine with what we've got. So let's let ourselves continue here, and hopefully we'll be able to make a bit more progress. We've done a good amount of deforestation in this area already, which is good, giving us a bunch more wood, but we are going to probably want to set up a bunch more foresters' shacks nearby to give us that more reliable income. Otherwise we are going to run out of logs more permanently, which we really want to avoid if at all possible. So, we need stone in here now, that's fine. We have a good amount of stone still in storage, and if we come check out our cemetery, they're getting pretty close to having all the stone they need. I will give them some more stone to mine from over in this area, if I haven't done this already, because there's a lot of it over here and fairly easy access. No, we've told them to get that one already. Perfect. There is some more in the area that we can grab pretty easily, and it's also already marked, so that's fine. As long as our laborers know they have all those different things that they can collect, we should be fine. I think potentially, though, part of the problem is we have so many things for our people to do. Since we do have so many varied tasks, like gathering wood and gathering stone and gathering iron from all over the map, that may be what's interrupting their ability to really gather things quickly, since they have so many choices to make whenever they try and gather something. For now, though, I'm not too worried about it. Also, we're back up to 20 students again, but one of these guys is going to grow up pretty quick, I suspect. We're also going to go up to 4 builders temporarily, which should help us increase our build speed on these tasks, so that'll be very nice. But yeah, really at this point, we're waiting on a couple things. We're waiting on finishing our fisherman's hut so we can test out that new area. We're waiting on getting more resources so we can actually accomplish more construction. And we want to wait for our population to age a little bit more, because as we get some of these guys to turn into adults, we'll have a much more productive population. There we go. Our fishing shack is going up, and that's good. We're very low on stone now as well, though, which is could again be a problem. I guess we'll just have to make do. But yeah, I have a feeling we're going to use this area for farms, so I think we're probably going to make another residential district, perhaps over here. I don't really want to make it too far away, though, so maybe we'll make a residential district in this part of the area and use this area for farms later on. I kind of like the idea of having some homes over here, though, especially if we're going to start building fishing shacks and whatnot, other more general production buildings over on this side of the river. So that might be a good thing to do, put the rest of our homes over here. That way we can split our colony a little bit. And that should be fine. So, we're looking pretty good. Now, our cemetery is getting pretty close to finish. We just need people to actually build it, which I assume they'll do once they're done constructing the fishing dock. It has reached its maximum of logs and stones. It just needs to be finished being built, and we'll be able to start using it. We are getting very low on food, though, which is very concerning. I think if we have one more building in, that should be fine for the population we have. But we'll have to watch, because people are still being born at a pretty significant rate. Which is good, because once people stop being born, it's hard to get the birth rate rolling again, but it can be a bit concerning as well. So, hurry up and finish our constructions there, gents. There we go. Cemetery is being completed. That's good. We're full on stone there. That's a pretty important task, because with our cemetery, we'll be able to keep people from getting a huge happiness hit whenever adults die, and that's always good. We're getting more and more laborers, which is good as well, because they'll be able to help deal with our resource problems. The other thing we want to try and start doing is setting up a trading post, but we don't have the resources for that either. So really, we need to start gathering resources. I could clear-cut one of these areas, and these guys will replant the trees for us, which would be nice, especially since they're so close. But for now, I'm kind of hesitant to do that still. Let's put in 2 fishermen for now. Let's do 3 fishermen. And hopefully they'll be able to gather us a good amount of fish, and I want to come back here later and check just how effective they are. With a gatherer's hut, with 4 people in it, we can gather easily about 500 to 400 of each resource in a season. So with 3 here, I'd hope for somewhere similar to, at least 800 or 900 of fish. Since they're only gathering 1 resource, I'd hope for at least as good as 2 of those resources. Otherwise, we'll see why I'm not so keen on them. I think it's interesting, though, that you can put the fishing dock so the boat is literally on the ground. I'm pretty sure it's not in the water at all, but this part of the dock is, so I guess that counts. Good fishing there, lady. Good fishing. Yeah! Catch those fish. Alright, so that should be good. That's one experiment underway. We have our cemetery here finished, so that's good too. Now we really just need to gather more resources. We'll take our builders out of their building jobs and get them working. We can get some more trees and such. We'll be looking great. So let's cut down some of the trees close to us since our... let's cut down these ones. Since our foresters' huts will help us repopulate these areas, which is definitely useful. There we go. It'll take a while, of course, for those trees to grow up again, but it means we won't be permanently without them, and it's a close source of wood that we can gather quite quickly, which should help our current wood situation. We also want to start gathering stones, but for now I'm just going to let them deal with these trees. The problem with being way over here is it is quite a ways to go just to gather a bit of wood. Here, it's right by all our stockpiles and whatnot, makes it nice and easy. Now, I am considering, like I said, building a new series of houses over here, and when we expand in this direction, we're going to want to build things like stockpiles and barns over here as well, so that people don't have to walk the entire way across the city to get to the ones we've got over in this section. But for now, I think we're going to leave it as it is. It's going to take us a little while to really get what we need anyway. Alright, so we're still capped out on the school. It might actually still be worthwhile making a new one, as our children are unable to learn. And there's no telling how long it's going to be before these guys are done. We'll have to see. Alright, one thing we're going to do though is we're going to slow down our simulation speed, and we're going to take a look at our fishing hut. How are you guys doing so far? You've only caught 75 fish so far this season, which isn't great, but it hasn't been a whole season that you've actually been in place either, as far as I can tell. We'll have to come back and check on them again later once they've had a bit more time to actually work. It's good that we've got this finished, but we do need a lot more resources still, so I'm glad we have 11 laborers now, so they can really work on bringing in more stuff for us. We're going to put a couple of them more into gathering and whatnot, so we can keep our food stocks high. I don't need anyone else in that job right now, but hopefully this will work out for the best. We're up to 8 laborers again, which is good. We got Beverlyn, who's become an adult. I moved the event log down here just to experiment with having the sort of 4 corners effect going on with the things blocking our vision instead of having the top bar and this thing in the bottom corner. I kind of like the view space here, but I'm not sure if I like having the event log somewhere I never actually look. Having it up here, it was always just below the center of my attention, so when something changed, it was easy to see. I might move it back later if I decide I don't like it very much. We'll have to wait and see, though. I imagine you'd catch more fish if it was raining. That might have an interesting effect on this. Not really. I'm not catching too much more, apparently. But yeah, we're going to let ourselves gather up some more wood, some more stone, hopefully, by setting ourselves up to high speed, and then we will hopefully be able to keep going here. Unfortunately, another one of our hunters has died of old age, and they're in the cemetery already. Here we go. Can we look at the graves? No, we can't look at the graves. Fair enough. But that's fine. We have a good amount of laborers, and that will help us gather everything we need. Now, they should be clearing up this area pretty quick, yeah. Look at all those deers and mushrooms and herbs and whatnot, and they're already being trees planted, which is nice. That'll help recuperate the area pretty quick. Alright. Oh, we have people going hungry. How'd that happen? They must have not... oh, a whole bunch of adults just aged up. That's good. People must have just not gone and gotten food for their homes or something. That's why it was like that. Alright, I'm not super concerned. We just need to let this run for a little bit so we can gather ourselves the resources we need to move forwards. We get a lot more wood here, which is great. We're getting a lot of stone again and iron as well, which is also good. I think the next thing that we're going to try and build is either going to be our town hall or potentially our trader. I'm not sure exactly which we want first. Having access to a trader would be very nice, although we can't really afford to buy things like seeds yet, because it's a fairly massive trading cost, and we don't have anything actually worth that much. But I think we'll build one anyway, just to see what happens. If we're going to build a trader, do you want to build them over near this? No. We could build them on the river here, if we wanted. But I don't think we really want to build him there. I kind of want to build him near the main body of our city. So I think we're probably going to build him over here, and connect to him, because this is in line with those buildings, right? Yes. Connect to him via the road there. So let's try it. We'll build one of these. So, people are still dying from old age, but our children are still aging up faster than they die off, which is good. We're going to go through a whole bunch of wood again in a second, as we always do every time it becomes a new season. And I don't want the roads to go like that, so we're going to have to build them by hand. There we go. Set it in our road so people can get to where they need to go. And we'll see how our trader works for us once we get it completed. Now, I think beyond that, we definitely do want to try and go for 467 fish. Oh, whoa! Fish produce leather? Since when did fish produce leather? That's weird. Alright, fish leather is apparently a thing. Whatever. A whole bunch of people are dying of old age now, and by a whole bunch, we mean like, 2, 3. But still, we're going to start having to deal with people dying of old age as our population ages. So it's good that we got that cemetery finished in time to really start dealing with the aging civilization. Otherwise, we might have run into some problems. I am looking forward to seeing what happens once we get our trader finished, though. It's going to take a lot of resources to complete it, and it might be a bit of a problem for us, but hopefully it's not that bad. We're going to set ourselves back down to 5 times speed. We've got a lot of stone and iron coming in, which is good, and our wood is keeping up with our demand, so that's good too. Seems like our food is stabilized as well. The most likely thing we're going to wind up trading is our herbs, because we have a lot of stored medicine, and we don't seem to really need it that fast. So if we can make use of that as a trade good, we should get a good amount of exchange for it. Because I believe they're worth about 4 value points each. So we could potentially start getting animals and do farming that way if we could get a couple animals traded in for that, for the herbs. We'll have to wait and see what the trader provides. Now, beyond that, we want to start trying to get ourselves, like I mentioned, we want to get our church. We want to try and get ourselves our town hall, because the town hall will also allow you to take in travelers who come to your city, as well as trying to get ourselves a brewery eventually, because that allows us to produce alcohol, which makes people happy, and is a nice other resource we can sell if we have a surplus of it. We'll have to wait and see, though, because those are all pretty far in the future. We're already only 10 years into our civilization, about to be 11, mind you, but still, it might take us a while to be really able to prepare those kinds of things. Up until now, we've got a pretty solid civilization here. We're testing out our fishing hut, which is still, surprisingly enough, producing leather. That was a good amount of fish. Okay, they got 744 fish for leather. That's actually pretty reasonable. It's not great compared to something like the Gatherer's Hut, which was producing, almost that much in 4 different kinds of food. But it does produce us leather, so I guess I can't give it the same flack I was giving it before, because it's pretty comparable to the hunting cabin. The only difference here is the hunting cabin doesn't have as many people working at it. It's about half the number. But still, that's not bad. That's pretty reasonable. Alright. For some reason I didn't realize that they actually gave us food. Also, people mentioned to me that I don't need to keep double-clicking things after I select them. If you just right-click, it goes away. I didn't realize that. It's a very useful tip, and I'm going to try and make sure I remember it, because otherwise it'll make things a bit of a pain in the butt. I do want to build a market soon as well. The problem is, the space I wanted to build the market in is kind of like over here. There's not a lot of space for it. Because of the mountains and the water being right there, I kind of wanted to build our market in this space, but it's not going to work. There's just too many other things in the way. And I could build it over here, but then it's in the way of these guys, which isn't great either. The thing about the markets is they're very useful for storing a lot of goods in one place, but we don't want them to interfere with other things that we do already have. I'm looking for a place to place it down. Even there doesn't work quite. There's one little piece of block that's in the way. And I want to build our market over here, because this is probably going to be mostly cemeteries and the church and the town hall, that kind of thing. Maybe we'll build our market over here. But that's really far from our homes, and if a lot of our resources get brought over here, that's not going to work out very well either. So I guess we just need to kind of figure it out as we go. For now, though, we don't need a market. We have enough storage space in our barns and in our stockpiles, so we're not too concerned about it. The market's going to be a concern if we ever start filling up both of these barns, because the market provides a lot of storage space, and it's kind of like a way to manage your inventory in that respect. So let's get people working on our building here, and I'm actually going to check the time on this video because I have a feeling we might be getting close to the end. So, increase our priority here on our trader's post, and we'll see what happens. Either way, though, I'm going to check the video time. We'll be right back. Alright, we're going to go for a little bit longer here. Oop, didn't mean to do that. There we go. And we'll see what we can get done. Whew. The main thing I want us to accomplish here is to build this building, though. It's our main goal right now. So put ourselves back up to 5 times speed, because why not? And we'll see how our production goes. Now, it's going to take a lot of wood and a lot of stone to get this thing built, which is definitely a bit of a concern. But we do have a pretty good supply of those things right now with our 15 laborers producing them for us. That's pretty good. These guys should be able to bring in a pretty consistent supply of goods. We are getting quite low on food, though, which is a bit worrying. Since we are still getting new children, I believe, we're going to have to be a bit careful here. Otherwise, we're going to run out of food, and that would be a pretty big catastrophe. So the first thing we're going to do next is buff up the number of hunters to the maximum to hopefully increase the amount of food we're getting each season again. There's no guarantee that that'll increase the food you get from those places, but it's better than nothing. We need at least 4 foresters as well, because we do have 4 foresters' lodges, I believe. We only have 3. No, we only have 3. Never mind then. Don't need another person in that job, and didn't mean to close that window either. Bring this back up and close the other foresters. There we go. There we go. Okay, so our civilization's looking pretty solid here. One of the reasons we want to try and separate our buildings is if we happen to get a fire, we don't want everyone to die in the same fire. Now, mind you, I don't have a whole lot of experience with fires because in the entire time that I played my first run through, I never actually encountered one. I had an infestation and I had a little mini plague. People caught yellow fever or something, but they managed to cure it on their own, I believe, using nothing but herbs. So that worked out quite well for us. We'll have to see how it turns out once we go a little bit further in here, but so far I haven't had that be a problem. That was really good. 4 leather. How'd you get leather catching fish? I mean, it makes sense getting leather catching deer. Getting leather catching fish seems very strange to me. Whatever. A lot of deforestation going on here, unfortunately, but we will start putting down foresters' huts again to recuperate some of the land, at least in areas that we want recovered. As we can see here, there's trees being planted again to help reinstate the forest that we've cut down already in these close areas. We'll have to see how it goes later on. Now, if we had more people in our foresters' huts, of course, we'd also get more trees coming back quicker. But since that's not the case, that's what we have to deal with. Now we're going to cut down some more trees again. This time we're going to cut them down in this area, because there's a whole bunch of trees over here that we can pretty easily cut down. It's kind of sad to deforest everything like this, but we do need the wood really badly. So this should help us deal with our low supplies in that respect again. There we go. We've reached more or less the cap of our wood. That's fine. We're pretty stable on food now. We seem to fluctuate by about 500 food, give or take, depending on how quickly people produce it and how quickly people eat it. But I'm not really worried with how it's actually playing out. It seems like we're pretty safe with regards to our food supply right now. If we build more homes, we're going to need more food supply. But for now, it seems to be about the same in and out. We have somebody here who doesn't have a home, though. Alright, I guess we need to start building more homes. I'd love to build some stone homes. Like start building this area over here entirely out of stone. But that's really demanding on resources, and I don't think I can really afford to do that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to slow down time. Down to 1 time, so people can still do things, but it's not going to be like, you know, housing crisis all of a sudden. So I think we're going to take a look at building another residential district in here. I'm not sure how we want to go about building it just yet, though, so we'll take a look first. Now, I get the feeling we're going to want to do... Can we do... Let's see, that's 1, 2... We can do 3 there. That's not super good. I think we're going to do them the other way, though. This time we're going to rotate them. I'm going to do little housing blocks like this to fill up the space so that it's not such one long strip like this. I think that'll work a little bit better for us. But I also want to keep some space in the central area here for things like barns and whatnot. So if we want to potentially be able to put a barn in there, we'll make sure we have enough room for it. Okay, what else would we maybe want to put? If we want to put a marketplace in there, that's pretty big. Would we want to put a marketplace over here? Maybe, if we're building a lot of homes and we can use the barns to hold the other food. That might actually be a pretty good idea. So we keep this amount of space for the market, and that would mean that we want to start building our homes... Oh, wrong button. Our homes, like, here-ish. So we have enough room so they're not infringing on the marketplace. And that way we can build some other things in that area as well. So I guess we'll try this. We'll try and build some homes over here. We'll build 2 homes for now, and hopefully that'll be enough. Put some roads down beside them. I think we've got enough space here. I think we'll be able to maintain a couple more homes. But we are going to need more food production in order to keep up with these people. One thing I definitely want to try and get going eventually is some kind of crops and food production via farming and animal husbandry and whatnot, but so far that's not looking so good. Why are people not building this yet? That's unusual. I was pretty sure I increased the priority on this. Let's do that a couple more times. Let's Just make sure people know this needs to be built. There we go. The homes are pretty high priority too, though, so I'm going to prioritize one of those as well. I'm not entirely sure how the priority tool works, honestly. I just like to prioritize the things that I want done, and hopefully that'll give the people enough knowledge of what they need to do that they'll actually, oh, I know why it's not getting done. I don't have anybody building. Well, nobody's perfect, right? There we go. That should help deal with that problem. Let's put 8 people on the builder's jobs. That should get those things constructed really quickly. Now I feel silly, though. That was an obvious mistake. I forgot to actually check and make sure I had people in the builder's job. Oh boy. Alright, now we should be actually getting this stuff completed. And that'll be nice. No, not that one yet. Maybe they're doing the house over here first. Who knows? Either way, with 8 builders, we should be able to get these buildings completed rather quickly, and I look forward to that happening. Our food is still pretty stable, but we'll have to wait and see what happens once we get those homes built. We're probably going to build a couple more fishing lodges, just for the heck of it, since we can. Maybe one over here or something beside our trading post. But for now, we're probably going to be done fairly shortly. We only have 1 person without a home, but as soon as we build new homes, we're going to get more children again, and then our population's going to keep growing. We're up to 50 adults now, though, which is great. 50 adults and only 24 children. So our civilization's looking pretty good. We've got a couple new things built, we've got a couple new things underway. So as usual, our civilization is growing ever so slightly. Alright. We don't have enough leather to keep making more coats. That's fine, though. We'll get leather as we catch more fish, apparently. Are they still doing that? Does it still say? No, I haven't got any leather from this set of fish. We'll see if we get some at the end. Anyway, I'm not too worried. People will get these jobs done eventually. And we should be fine. The home is the most concerning one, but they are starting to bring wood there already, so I'm really not that worried. Speed ourselves up to times 10 and see if we can get this stuff finished before we end the episode, which is going to be in a moment or two. I don't expect that this episode is going to run super long at this point, but we'll see. We'll see how much more it takes them to actually accomplish these tasks. There's 16 wood, then I just need to bring the stone over. This is actually getting built pretty quickly, which is good. Once our trading post is complete, we can move some of our stockpiled items into here instead, and that way when a trader arrives, we can exchange with him the items that we've got. Now, the one thing is, having a trader does expose your people to sickness. Since he comes from all around the place, he does have a risk of getting your citizens sick. Oh, they finished both those homes. Good. So we might run into a food problem very shortly, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Either way, I think we're probably going to be ending this episode just about now, as we are getting these things constructed at monstrously good speed. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Now, our homeless person might actually die of exposure this winter, unless they can go inside and heat up with people's homes, which it looks like he just did there, so we should be fine. There we go, the homes are getting finished, so our homeless person should get a home soon. Either way, we're going to slow ourselves down here. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Vanguard of Valor, playing some more Banished, getting ourselves some more interesting infrastructure up and working, like our cemetery, our trading post, our fishing hut, our first fishing hut experiment, which appears to be about standard as it turns out, and a new area for homes to be built. I look forward to seeing you guys again next time, but until then, bye-bye.